understand, the work and the role of the Spirit is not just for what takes place in these four walls. The work of the Spirit in these four walls equips us and enables us and trains us to carry it out beyond these walls. You see, I think it's important to ask this question. When people see the church, what do they see? When people see your life, what do they see? Acts chapter 3 is not a special missions trip that they go on. It's not a special prayer night. This is everyday, ordinary life. And yet, Peter and John, on the way to the temple, they're not even at the temple yet, something miraculous happens. Acts chapter 3, let's look at the first 10 verses. I'm going to teach as I walk through it, and then we are going to celebrate some water baptisms today. Acts 3 says this, "Now Peter and John were going up to the temple for the time of prayer at 3 p.m. There were scheduled times of prayer that took place at the Jerusalem temple. In other words, Luke is describing this isn't an out of the normal event for them. This is everyday, ordinary life. It says this, a man who was lame from birth was being carried there. He was placed each day. Can you say each day? He was placed each day at the temple gate called Beautiful so that he could beg from those entering the temple. Part of Jewish piety was giving of alms to those who were poor and unable to work. And so here this man was placed day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. He hasn't been able to walk from the day of his birth. In other words, he only knows one condition in his life. And there he is doing what he knows to do. It says this, that when he saw Peter and John about to enter the temple, he asked for money. Peter, along with John, looked straight at him and said, "Look at us." So he turned to them, expecting to get something from them. But Peter said, "I don't have silver or gold." How many know at that moment, that man's like whole countenance is like, then why are you looking at me? Why are you even talking to me? I need some money. I need some money. The man is convinced, I want money. Now let me pause just for a moment, because what does God do to make his invisible plan and purpose visible? He builds a church, not a building, a people. He builds a church, he empowers that church, but then he sends the church. That's what we're reading. Peter and John, they're not attending a church service, they're being the church in the city streets. And this matters because when we consider how does this man in Acts chapter 3 encounter Jesus, he encounters Jesus through his church. It just happens to be Peter and John. I want you to think about that idea of everyday empowerment. Because first, I think it's important to recognize we are empowered as the church for everyday moments. Can you say everyday moments? There's a lot of people who think that the role of the Holy Spirit is just to give us great church services. Woo! I felt the Spirit move today. And trust me, I love moments where the people of God come together and there's just like that tangible sense, God is here. But understand, the work and the role of the Spirit is not just for what takes place in these four walls. The work of the Spirit in these four walls equips us and enables us and trains us to carry it out beyond these walls. We are empowered, friends, for everyday moments. For Peter and John, they're not on a mission trip. This is not like something they pass flyers around for, saying, hey, we got this event coming up. They're doing what they always do. This is like you on your commute this Thursday. And somehow, God shows up. That's what's going on. They're empowered for everyday moments. But not only that, they're empowered for open eyes. Can you say open eyes? Look what happens. Look at verse 3. When the man saw Peter and John about to enter the temple, he asked them for money. Peter, along with John, looked straight at him and said, "Look at us." So he turned to them, expecting to get something from them. But Peter said, "I don't have what you're looking for." This is the Tyler paraphrase. I don't have what you're after right now, but I have what you need. Now catch this. This is everyday ordinary. Remember Acts 2:42 through 47. You got to keep that in context. Every day they continue to meet in the temple courts. In other words, this isn't out of the ordinary for Peter and John. They are walking more than likely the same path they take every day. And what did we read about this man? That he's been placed at that same place every day. For how long? More than days, more than weeks, more than months, more than years. Pull those two thoughts together. Most likely, Peter and John have walked by this guy before. They've seen him daily. What made this day different? Empowerment from the Spirit. Peter and John step into a moment that is so familiar to them, but all of a sudden they're seeing things differently. And my prayer is this, that as we scatter from this place, people that maybe we've walked by or driven by, or we've walked by at work, we walked by at our school, all of a sudden our eyes would be open to say, "Holy Spirit, you want to do something in this moment right now." You see, it's empowerment not just for church gatherings, it's empowerment for everyday, ordinary moments where an extraordinary God can do beyond what we can ask or imagine.